You can win every fight if you follow these rules in this video. You'll instantly become a better player and win more fights if you follow each rule. Rule 1, master awareness. And this will put you miles ahead of all the other people playing Fortnite. It completely changes how you play the game. To win more fights, gather as much information as possible on every opponent around you, but not just with your eyes, but with your audio. If you can't tell where a player is who's close to you with your eyes closed, then you don't have good enough awareness. But you need to know where the enemy is going and where they're about to be. The better your awareness, the easier you'll be able to predict what the enemy is going to do next, which is something I'll talk more about later in the video. But there's so many ways to get better awareness. One way to instantly get better awareness is by making sure you have visualized sound effects turned on. This literally tells you where people are on your screen. It's genuinely OP, and please use your awareness to track your enemies at all times, to know when to rotate, to know if you can take height in an end game, or to know where to position yourself in zone, or just to know where the least players are. Awareness is one of the most underrated aspects of the game, and if you master it, you'll improve at pretty much everything. Just use your awareness to tell you what to do in situations and to plan your next move, and you'll win so many more fights. But this is nothing if you don't approach a fight the right way, because not approaching a fight properly is the fastest way to get sent flying back to the lobby. So let me explain to you how to properly approach a box and box fight, as this will completely change the way you fight for the better. But real quick, let me give you something for completely free to help you improve a lot faster. This is the Pro Reality, the #1 free improvement hub with tons of channels, advice, and documents to help you improve. Even exclusive videos. You also get access to all the best training routines if you join today through the link in the description. And just in case you're wondering if they actually work, well, they've helped thousands of people and even helped multiple people get earnings. I'm also doing a huge update soon where I'm collaborating with pros and building way more resources and exclusive videos to help you improve. You can join now and get all of this for completely free if you join today using the link in the description. But now let me walk you through how to properly approach a fight so you can start winning more fights. Okay, so when you're approaching a box, there's a few key things that you need to keep in mind. And first off, before you even approach a box in the first place, always try to get a few entry tags on the enemy so you're at the advantage. And then when you're coming up, don't just walk up like this to the box, and especially don't just walk up like this to the box. And the reason I said especially is because you do always want to be fighting diagonally in a box fight, which is just this line here. This is diagonal, and from here isn't diagonal, but you always want to be fighting diagonal. So obviously make sure you're like building and that stuff like this just to block off shots. But then once you get to like this point, there's a few key things you can do, and one of them is just placing a cone and blocking off this, and this just makes sure they can't do any unexpected angles on you. Also, make sure you put a cone above your head. That's very important because all this person has to do in their box is just this, and boom, and it can just kill you instantly. So that's why you always want to put a cone here. And then also make sure you fight from a right angle like this. This is a right angle. Fighting like this is a left angle. You never ever want to fight from a left angle. Not only when you're just box fighting like this, but just pretty much any time in Fortnite, never fight from a left angle. And the reason you do this is because the right angle gives you peeker's advantage. And if you're peeking from here, which is your left, then the enemy, this is the enemy's right, so that gives them the advantage. So you never want to do that. But yeah, you can either pressure from the side from a right angle like this and do this, and then just keep on continuing pressuring. Also, never ever double swing like this, because as soon as you swing once, what the enemy's going to do is he's just going to be sitting here like this, waiting for you to edit or waiting for you to pickaxe. And then as soon as you pickaxe, he's just going to pre-fire you. Also, throw in some fake pickaxes like this, and all you do is just before the pickaxe hits the wall, you want to cancel and switch to your shotgun, and this does a fake pickaxe, and sometimes it can catch your enemy off guard. So what I like to do is throw one pickaxe and then the second one fake pickaxe, because usually you can get the first one off, but then the second one they're waiting for it. And then the other thing you can do from this point is something I would probably recommend more, to be honest, which is to just go up like this, but make sure again you block off all the angles except the one you're pressuring from, and make sure you do this double edit as well, because then let's say you decide to edit this one, go for a shot, you can just reset like that. Also, you always want to expect the enemy to go for an edit, so never just get carried away double pickaxing. Always like make sure to pull your shotgun out a lot, and always expect the other player to edit on you. But again, one good thing you can do from here is block this, do a double edit like this, and then take this all like this, and then you can edit like this to get a cone in their box if they don't have something like that, or to just get a shot off. And it's really unexpected. Like, let me show you. If you can do this quick, it can like be super unexpected, and it's a really good way to get some damage off. So make sure you approach the boxes diagonally, but also you always want to be pressuring like when you're going up to a box, and when you're actually pressuring a box from up close as well, you always want to be pressuring, but also you always want to be like changing angles like this, because if you keep changing angles like this, it's going to be unpredictable, and they're not going to know where you're pressuring from, and it's just going to be a lot easier to, you know, actually kill the enemy. But that's the basic fundamentals you need to know about approaching a box, which will set you up to win. Just make sure to follow rule 3, which is getting the advantage, because if you don't have the advantage going into a fight, then you're making the fight fair, and you do not want to make the fights you get into fair. You want to be the one with the advantage. You're playing to win, not to fight fairly. So first up, always try to go for the initial tags. Even just 50 damage to your enemy will put you at a massive advantage compared to them. But obviously, the more damage you can deal in the first few tags, the better, and the easier it will be to win the fight. But there's one big mistake some people do here, which is just shooting with whatever gun you have in your hand as soon as you see the enemy. Even if it's something like a shotgun, which will only do 10 damage from where you're standing. But despite only taking 10 damage, the other player will instantly box up. So it's just much better to switch to the gun that will allow you to get the highest amount of entry damage, which most of the time is an AR. Because if they're going to react to whatever you shoot them with, you obviously want to deal as much damage as possible before they react. And if they're going to react no matter what you shoot them with, you obviously want to shoot them with the gun that's going to deal more damage. But now let me reveal to you something that pros do to win more fights. And rule 4 is predicting your opponents. And this is something one of the best players in the world, Veno, does in his fights, because he always tries to pre-aim. And essentially, this means positioning your crosshair to the place where you think the enemy is going to move into. And if you do predict properly, they'll move into your crosshair for you, so you don't even have to aim. But obviously, you can't just randomly predict where they're going to go. So to be able to do this, you actually have to be able to read your opponents and keep track of your opponents at all times. Also, the more you play and the more you fight, the more you will improve at reading opponents and being able to pre-aim. And this is just because you would have been up against more players, meaning you would know how to fight each playstyle better and have a general understanding of the next moves that specific types of players will make. But something extremely important if you want to win more fights is to follow rule 5. Tons of people make excuses, but I'm sure most of you already know this. Most of you have probably done it before as well, right? Just blame something else other than yourself, when if you went and looked back, it probably was your fault. But some people fall into a trap of setting yourself to automatically make excuses even when you think you aren't, because a lot of people still like almost try to figure out if something something was their fault or not. And when you do this, you're giving yourself the opportunity to blame it on something else. But if you just instantly blame yourself and say to yourself that whenever you die, it is your fault, then you'll improve a lot faster. And let me tell you why. If you take accountability and always blame yourself, then you'll be able to figure out exactly what it is you need to work on. Because sometimes you do die in a fairly unlucky situation. Let's say you died because you got lobby sprayed for 2 minutes straight and because you had no more mats to build. Well, this seems super unlucky, right? And like it was just out of your control. But really, 9 times out of 10, it's just your fault. It could be because you built in wood, so you got a lobby sprayed, or because you only had 1 or 2 boxes, so people thought you had no mats, and this makes most of the lobby just want to spray you, thinking they're gonna get a refresh. Or even just because you rotated at the wrong time, or put yourself in a bad position. So always put the blame on yourself, and especially if you're under 500 PR, or even 1000 PR, then you probably have a big ego and you don't even realize it. You probably think that you're a lot better than you actually are, and you probably think you deserve to have more PR. But most of the time, this thinking just holds you back, as you don't look at yourself as someone who has a lot of weaknesses and someone who can improve. Which, by the way, if you are under 1000 PR, then you clearly do have a lot of weaknesses. It might not be your mechanics, they might mostly be weaknesses related to in-game, but you do still have lots of weaknesses. And if you put the blame on yourself and think what you can do to improve, then you'll win so many more fights and play so much better in tournaments. But this video is no BS, it will take time. I'm not saying you're gonna go pro in like 1 week. That's not how it works. Now, in the thumbnail, it says that it's not your mechanics causing you to die in fights. And for 90% of people, this is the case. But for the 10% of people that haven't got down the basic mechanical fundamentals, then I promise every single piece of advice I've given you in this video will still help you win more fights. And whether you're new to the game or have been playing for years, if you want to improve much faster, then join the Pro Reality for the best improvement resources. It's linked in the description and it's completely free to join. I can guarantee you'll see improvement in under 30 days if you join. But please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and use code Blexiti in the Fortnite item shop.